Today we start the revolution. We present to you our strategic ideas for the coming 2 years. These ideas means 10 years. We arrive to 2024. That links with our FIH centenary. 100 years. 100 years that a body, international body, is running our sport. And that is important. Let me to talk about, along these years, 90 years now, hockey is global. Hockey is in all continents. Many countries are playing hockey. And you have really thoughts about the next future. We can arrive perhaps at 150 national associations affiliated to the International Federation. Let me to remember that in America, some years ago, a man called Luther King, they say in one moment, I have a dream. And after this sentence, it was a big revolution also in America. But only us, we can dream. But to dream and to have a vision, that is my personal feeling. You need a nice room, nice friends to talk, to share, to exchange ideas, to watch each other, because you can start with a small idea, but with that, to share this idea with the rest of the people, this idea is not as good as we like. For that, the FIH is very pleased today to meet all of you for that, to see each other, to exchange ideas, to participate, because we can make a better product with all these kind of discussions. It's important to remember that revolution is not only to be here and to take some kind of decisions, but revolution is a movement. We have to go ahead. And because it's a movement, you have to implement the energy we can start today here to pass to the new generations. For me, revolution is not only vision. I think revolution for me is inspiration. And revolution for me is passion. All of us, we have passion for our sport. I love my sport. If I am now the president, it's because I have passion for my sport. And that is really important. And because all of you, you are really the leaders of the hockey young countries, it's your responsibility too. What you learn here about all this project with the 10 years strategic plan, you have to pass to the new generation of your countries. Because only together, from players, officials, umpires, managers of the sport, we can really make our sport stronger. Viva la revolución! Thank you very much.
Really great championships to feel this atmosphere in and outside the stadium. It is part of the Olympic family, and exciting events like this help, of course, boosting hockey worldwide.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As you've all just witnessed, it's been an extraordinary couple of years. And since we met in Kuala Lumpur, I'm surely agree with some incredible highlights. And while we thought after London 2012 that we had had fantastic games, and we did, the analysis showed from a global perspective, from a fan perspective, and in terms of general awareness, outside the people that know hockey, the sport, the reality is that sport is not that popular. I know that sounds shocking, but that is the challenge that we all collectively face today and in the future. And that is why we're talking about a revolution. And let's be clear, the changes we've begun over the past 4 years represent the start and not the end of this change process. We have evolved for sure, as Leandro says, but we all collectively now have to up our game. To be competitive in this industry means we're going to have to make significant more changes in the next 4 to 8 years. That's why it's a revolution. We're talking about the need for constant review, for change that touches virtually all aspects of our game and the way we work. And it starts today, it starts now. So if our theme today is revolution, what is our end goal? Where do we want to be in 10 years' time when, as Leandro says, we celebrate the centenary of the FIH and of the sport of hockey? The answer is set out in our ambition. Our ambition is a global game that inspires the next generation. And let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail for a moment. It brings together 3 ideas. The concept of being global, which is important to us, and a reminder that this was part of the feedback that we received from the IOC last year, and it reminds us of the importance of bringing new countries and communities into our game. The next generation is about being forward-thinking, not forgetting on or dismissing today's generation, but always making sure that we are in good health for tomorrow. And the other key part is about inspiration, which you'll hear a lot more about today. All of us need to think about how we can inspire people, players, supporters, fans with hockey. And then we have our purpose, which describes what each of us is working on every day for our sport. And the purpose is to raise the global status and popularity of hockey. Below these sit our 4 goals, goals that now have a context. Because the way that we should see this and explain this to others, that we can only achieve our ambition and our purpose if we are successful in hitting the goals. The first one is innovating and exciting entertainment products. And this is about reaching a much wider audience, as I said earlier, through different formats and different types of competitions. So this is about greater flexibility and adding to our choices. And we will tap into the expertise, your expertise and our partners, to find the right mix for our sport going forward. The next one is a professional sport, a professional organization. And this is about being more professional in the broadest sense of the word. It's about having more people full-time in the game, but it's also, and this is very, very important, the ability to be more business-like and commercially focused. I now move to the third goal, a recognized, powerful, contemporary and dynamic image for the game of hockey. This is about being newsworthy. It's about being the subject that people want to talk about in the morning when they go to work, when they stand around the coffee machines. And it's about having stars of the sport who are household names in their country and beyond. We talk about the need for stars, and again, this has to be achieved, or this has been achieved in some countries, but it has to be achieved in many more countries around the world. And finally, the last goal, generate millions more followers around the world. And at first glance, that might seem a result or an output of all the other work we're doing, but it's much more than that. Once you make the sport more accessible with a higher media profile, I'm sure we'll find that people who try out coming to a hockey game actually really like it. We want people to be sitting at home, watching hockey on television and thinking, I wish I was there. It would be amazing to be there. I know I do that when I watch sport, and hopefully that's what people will do with done, because I believe it can. And make no mistake, we have made really good progress. We've set fantastic foundations. We've got fantastic people around the world in hockey. But we now have to take it to the next level. And to do that, we have to understand that we're at the start of the 10-year process and not at the end. We've reached base camp, and we can see we've come a fair distance. But now the real work begins as we take advantage of some of the opportunities that are coming our way. It will and will require a shift of mindset from all of us to achieve our exciting ambition of being a global game, inspiring the next generation. And that is why today we're talking about a revolution.
We're just going to bring up some of the senior staff at the International Hockey Federation to talk in more detail about these initiatives, what they mean, why they are necessary, and critically, what you guys can do to help them to be achieved. Okay, could you give an enormously loud welcome to our first two guests, Sarah Massey, who's the Events and Marketing Director of FIH, and David Lucas. Sarah, morning. David, hi there. Come and take a seat. We're talking about initiative number one, and this is something that you're both intrinsically involved with from different areas, and we'll talk about how you work together a little bit later on.
Well, there's really two parts to this initiative, so I'll just talk through them very, very briefly. Firstly, this is about our existing portfolio. So last year we assigned all of our events for the 2015 to 2018 cycle. So we know who all our hosts are, the dates, where they're being held. And now our job really is to work much, much more closely with those hosts than we probably have done in the past, and making sure that we're really continuing to improve the standard and the quality of our delivery of our events. But secondly, it's also about our next portfolio, our events for 2019 to 22, our global portfolio for that. And we need to start work on that very soon as well.
Now, we're using the word here, portfolio, and I'm always aware of the dangers of slipping into jargon. So just take a second. What exactly do you mean by portfolio?
Well, I think to start off with, I'll say it's not about calendar and it's not about just dates. It's about a lot more than that. It's really fundamentally looking, as Kelly said earlier on, it's looking at the mix of our events. And that's not just FIH events. It's the Continental Federation events and the National Association events. We almost need to take all of our events out of our portfolio, and we need to really look at which ones we're going to put back, where we're going to put them back, and how we're going to put them back. And we need to do that with everybody's input. We need to ask ourselves some questions before we put those events and that mix back in. You know, have we got too many events? Have we got enough events? Where does the short form format game fit in? Where do professional leagues fit in? What are the best formats? How many teams should take place in each of the events? So really very wide-ranging questions we're going to ask.
Well, I think the calendar is very congested at the moment. We have domestic leagues, we have Continental Federation events, we have FIH events, we have them over both hemispheres. So up until this point in 2014, we've had over 1,100 international matches played, which is an incredible amount of matches played. So what we want to do is deconstruct the calendar, make it more coherent, make it more understandable, have regular events at regular times of the year, and come up with something that is consistent and coherent as a calendar.
We're going to put in place a very good, robust structure for collaboration. To make sure that we're involving all of our stakeholders in those conversations. So obviously our STAR will be important to that, our sponsors, all of the national associations and continental federations. So it's going to be a really, really huge undertaking. But I think, as Kelly pointed out earlier on, this really is fundamental to making sure that we grow with those changes that we need to make for the game for the future.
What happens around the field of play is absolutely crucial to this. The sport is the most important component of any event. And as Leandro and Kelly have already mentioned, we have We've embraced innovation as a sport over the years. We've got rid of the offside rule. We've introduced the self-pass rule. Recently, for international events, we've introduced quarters and stopping the time for penalty corners and goals. So we've embraced that innovation, and we need to continue to embrace that innovation so that a sport that was codified 150 years ago is still relevant today and will be relevant in the next 30, 40, 50 years.
I'd like to ask both of you what you expect to see come out, what you want to see coming out of it from your own perspective, starting with you, David.
Well, I think it's the hockey community, it's the hockey family embracing what we're trying to do through this revolution, and pushing the boundaries and continuing to innovate, but recognizing that we can't compromise the integrity of the sport when we do that.
Okay, and Sarah?
Yeah, I think, firstly, sort of in the short term, really looking. David sort of talked very much about on the field of play. I think we also need to work much more on the spectator experience around the venue. We really need to focus on, making people want to actually come and watch our events. It's been mentioned already. The amazing atmosphere that we all felt at The Hague with some packed stands and the great hockey park. And, we really need to give that environment so that people really want to come and watch. And I think, that's what will really help. And I think, secondly, and obviously most importantly for me, what will come out of all of this is that we have a must-see sport on television. And I think the true mark of success for any sport is their TV numbers, and how many people are viewing your sport globally.
Absolutely. Now, that actually takes us very nicely into the next of our initiatives, which is all about world-class content creation and distribution.
Well, everybody, I think, is fully aware that we've signed an 8-year agreement and partnership with Star, which, we are all really, really excited about. They're going to be responsible for the TV production of our major events, and they're also responsible for the distribution of our rights globally. And I think, that speaks for itself in terms of the impact that will have on the sport. The people from Star are here, so they will talk to you a little bit later about what they've done in other sports and obviously what their plans are for hockey. The production is fundamental, and we saw some great enhancements to our TV production in The Hague, again, with the spider cam, with the super slow-mos, the cameras in the huddles. That was really enhancing the television production. But there becomes a limit. You can't just add more and more and more cameras and expect that to enhance what you see. At some stage, we actually have to look and ask ourselves the really critical question of, is our game TV friendly?
Mm-hmm.
Is it what is being filmed, is that friendly enough for television? And we need to really say, well, are the rules, are they easy enough to understand for a TV viewer if you're not a hockey person? Is the game too fast for television? It's really kind of, are there enough high points on television for the viewer? Really is looking at that quite critically, and obviously that's what Star will be helping us with. There have been several meetings already where we've introduced Star to our existing broadcasters. But the massive opportunity is that they can introduce us to lots more broadcasters who traditionally we maybe haven't spoken to or haven't been necessarily interested in taking hockey. And I think that, that's where the massive opportunity lies. But, there might be changes. In some territories, we might see hockey on different broadcasters than we did before. But if they're bringing extra programming to it, they're putting more resources in it, and that's okay, because at the end of the day, if that's bringing more TV viewers and putting hockey out there globally, then that's okay. We will need to start looking at hockey on television and thinking, if I wasn't a hockey fan and I wasn't involved in the game, what would I actually think? What changes could I suggest to make? And looking at other sports and thinking, yeah, I want some of that in hockey, and then coming to us and talking about it.
Okay, guys, thank you very much indeed for that. There's great insights as we get through a discussion of the second of our 5 initiatives. Now, time to bring up some additional speakers. I'd like you to welcome, please, very loudly to the stage, Laura Hoyle and Richard Tattershaw. Laura, hi.
Hi.
Richard, morning. Okay, please. We're now going to shift focus a little bit. We've talked about events, we've talked about media, and in the next section, we're going to talk about marketing and partnerships.
Joined Up Global Marketing is really simple. It's basically about the idea that we all need to work together. If we work together and we say the same things, we'll make a much, much bigger impact. My initiative actually has 5 core areas: global marketing campaigns, consumer-facing PR. This is all around how we get from the back sport pages into the lifestyle media, engaged online communities, strong international relations, and creating superstars. At the moment, we're not doing enough. If we want to attract new fans, if we want more followers, we need to do a lot more marketing. We need to do it with commitment, and we need to be creative about how we're doing it. Today, I'm just going to talk about 2 of them. So the 2 I'll tell you about is global marketing campaigns and engaged online communities. So the first one, global marketing campaigns. This is about creating campaign toolkits at FIH. So we started doing this for some of our events. We did it for the Hockey World League, we did it for the World Cup, and we've now done it for the Champions Trophy. But it's about having one big idea, having one creative execution, and one positioning for either an event, or it might just be hockey in general. And then the idea is that we don't just execute this at FIH. Each and every one of us in this room will be able to take these campaigns and run them in your local markets. And it's not just for national associations. We're encouraging our athletes to take these and use them themselves. We're also creating it for fans so that fans can take it and use it. And even our TV partners. So we've started giving our TV partners TVCs so that they can run the campaign for us when they're going to show their broadcast. The second bit I'd like to talk to you a bit more about is engaged online communities. So digital presents a massive, massive opportunity for us to promote hockey. We don't have huge budgets, but in digital, you don't need big budgets. And the news is that's where the future of our sport is. That's where they hang out. That's where they want to talk to us. So digital is massive for us. We've made a really good start in social media. We're now the number 3 federation on Facebook of every single Olympic International Federation. So we're pleased with that start. Overall, in social media, we're coming in at number 5. That's not too bad too, but we're going to go after number 1. We want to be the top federation in social media. Previously, our website's been very useful for, I guess, the hockey family searching for resources, but now we want to make it a fantastic platform to promote hockey. So it becomes designed really for fans. It's designed for newcomers. So if I come to the website, I've never seen hockey before, I'll see hockey and think, wow, that looks amazing. If I want to find out more about hockey, then there'll be videos that I can watch. So that if I'm going to watch a game, I can watch a 60-second video, and then I know what the game is about, which will improve my experience when I go to that game.
Now, let's move on to the 4th of our initiatives and introduce you to Richard Tattershaw. It's all about commercial partners, attracting commercial partners who share our vision. Richard, let's get back to basics. Why is this so important?
Good commercial partners have clout. They have capabilities, they have resource, they have image, they demand accountability from people they work with. So absolutely it is vital that we have commercial partners who share our vision and want to become part of our vision. It'll be very difficult for us, impossible I would say, for us to achieve so much of what we're trying to achieve without powerful commercial support. Because in the end, and that's FIH, and it's everybody here as well, we can only do as much as our resources allow. And our resources have even if we extend them 50%, they still have a box around them. Whereas good commercial partners can bolt on and create much more capabilities that we can bring in and drive our sport forward. We need to change our mindset to we need to make what people want. Now, we make it within a hockey framework, so we need to be creative and flexible and innovative and be willing to bend over backwards for our commercial partners and demand more from them for that. If we start viewing things with a commercial mentality, the decisions we make will be significantly different. If we view it from, because it's just like anything, if you view it from, in life, but in general, but in hockey, if I view it from a coaching mentality or a high performance mentality or grassroots mentality, or how I look at the world, affects the opportunities I see. It affects where I put my resources. And so this is what, at the FIH level, and I encourage all our friends here to start looking at your hockey initiatives from a commercial framework. So what can I create, maybe in conjunction, that would have a value proposition? And I'd even go so far as to challenge, don't necessarily employ salespeople. Salespeople will sell a thing that you have. They will not do value creation. And unless you've got an amazing list of things to sell, it's going to be very difficult for that salesperson to be successful. I'd also encourage everybody to be very confident. We have an amazing Olympic high-performance level sport that is growing. Everyone has their own demographic. Okay, so you have a demographic, you have people deeply committed. This is me getting a little bit on my high horse, but
You're allowed. just for now, you're allowed.
But I get very enthusiastic. We have, as every sport does, we have something that people love to do. They love it. They'll put it in their top 3 or 4 things in life to do. Family, fishing, I don't know, Sopranos, hockey. They love doing, and brands, businesses don't have it. No one loves going and buying Pampers. No one loves doing that. Yeah. Okay? So they need us. Brands need the activities that connect with people to partner up with. So I would encourage us to change our mentality as well. Turn the switch. Turn the switch.
Okay, Richard, thank you for now. That was great, very deeply insightful. David, you're back on again because we've got one more initiative to talk about during this session. It's about education and empowerment, and to a large extent, I would suggest, sort of underpins so much else that we're talking about. But please tell us about this initiative and why it's so important.
Well, this is very much the foundation block that sits underneath the other 4 initiatives. And it's about development, it's about working with the continental federations who we provide direct funding for development purposes. And what we've been doing over the past 4 years, but specifically over the past 9 to 12 months, is to work extremely closely with each continental federation to understand what it is they require, what it is in terms of development projects that they're looking to do, and make sure that strategically that our strategic plan, their strategic plan, and those of the national associations within those regions are fully aligned. And by fully aligned, it doesn't mean doing the same thing. It means making sure that what we do is understood by the continental federations, and that is understood by the national associations. So we could all be doing very, very different things, but we're pulling in the same direction to get the same end result. We've recently introduced the Targeted Assistance Programme, and that is something that's a pot of funding that we've produced at FIH for specific projects. And each and every national association can apply for that funding via the Continental Federation for those standalone projects as well. So it's something that can be very, very targeted, very focused, and very, very individualistic for each national association. On top of that, as we saw in one of the videos, the FIH Academy was launched this year, and that is a long-term project for us. It's something that a number of other international federations have done, but we really feel that providing that educational resource is extremely important to us as a sport, and whether it's relevant for the Hollands, the Englands, the Australias, it's going to be important for them, but it's going to be vitally important for some of those national associations and aspiring national associations who don't have the resources. So we provide that educational resource for them through the academy. As Kelly mentioned, I mean, some of the work that's been done on the high performance and coaching support, we saw Fiji, Bangladesh, Zambia, Mexico, all of whom have been recipients of high performance and coaching support over the years, coming through into the Youth Olympic Games. So we continue to do that. We're also looking to establish a structured approach to twinning programs between national associations. So we're getting the top tier national associations to link up with some of the developing national associations as well in terms of the coaching expertise, equipment, and event experience that they can bring, and that's an important step forward for us. And on top of that, the whole facility provision bit I know is very important to people in this room in terms of having the expert advice and independent expert advice when you're putting down a new pitch, which manufacturer to go to, what is it that you need? Do you need sand dressed, sand filled, water based? What kind of floodlighting system do you need? Now, previously, people are getting very, very different levels of advice from different people. And as Richard pointed out, if you go to a salesman, they'll try and sell you something. And generally, they'll try and sell you something that's top end and maybe not appropriate. So we've just appointed a facilities manager who will start in the new year, and he will be there to provide that independent advice for each and every national association and continental federation to come to us and make sure that the changing facilities or the floodlight pylons are actually appropriate to the needs of that particular venue.
Okay, let's rewind just slightly and focus on the academy more specifically. Perhaps you can reiterate what its aims and objectives are, and a little bit about how it's been how it's been going at the coalface.
Yes, as I said, this is something that's an educational resource, and it's done via online and also face-to-face activities. We recently launched what we call Start Hockey, which is the generic online module, and we had 500 people already who have registered for that. We've had a couple of coaching courses that have taken place, one in Peru, one in Scotland, and through that we have 20 new trained coach educators, and these are the people who coach the coaches. We have 50 new Level 1 certified coaches. So we've made great strides in terms of doing this, but the coaching program is only one part of the academy. Over the next 2 years, we'll move into officiating, umpiring, and also the important point of sport management. And currently we have 3 people undertaking a postgraduate certificate in sport management, and those people are from the continental federations. And this is something that is important to underpin the sport with people who understand and provide that management expertise as we look to professionalise the sport. Given the investment that we have proposed, by 2018 we're looking to have 10,000 people registered on the Start Hockey programme. We're looking for 800 certified coaches and 250 certified umpires. So we're thinking big. And we're pretty ambitious about that, and we hope to meet those targets. These services are available for you, and please use them.
Okay, David, thank you for that. So over the last 40 minutes or so, I hope you'll agree, we've had some great insight, and as we've drilled down into these 5 critical initiatives around fan-focused entertainment, portfolio creation, world-class content and distribution, about joined-up global marketing, commercial partners who critically share the vision, and just now, education and empowerment programs. And they all feed back in, the successful delivery of these initiatives all feed back in to the goals, to the purpose, and to the ambition. And let's not lose sight of that ambition to inspire the next generation, because that's where the future of hockey lies. Before we close, I'd like to ask each of you, bearing in mind our ambition, just to highlight one element from the various initiatives that we've talked about just now, and why you feel that that's particularly important. And I think we'll finish with Sarah, but Laura, perhaps we can start with you.
The initiative I'm really excited about is actually David's Educate and Empower initiative. For me, this is really exciting. Next year, we're planning to create a portal, a really user-friendly portal that each and every one of you, every national association, continental federation will be able to access. And on this, we're going to put all of the tools and campaign toolkits to help you deliver on the initiatives that we're talking about here today. From a selfish point of view, I'm excited because my marketing campaign toolkits, my photo library, our brand assets, they'll all have a home that everybody can access, and it'll be really simple and easy to use.
I guess I get very drawn to the explosion of growth we've had in the online space. I just think that's the bedrock of communication. The world is an online world. People are online, and we need to flourish and communicate and gossip and inform and bring our players and our fans together, and that's how we will manage to do it. So I think that is, you know, and I think it's not just, you know, being the best we can be, you know, we should aim to be the very best in that space.
I think that the Star Partnership will be that game changer. We'll have the hockey heroes, we'll have the global exposure, we'll have the more followers that we all desire, and we'll have those boys and girls wanting and willing to pick up that stick and play hockey.
I think there's really three parts. There's getting everything right on the field of play, accepting innovation, rule changes, anything we can do field of play to make it more exciting and entertaining. And we've always been very, very strong with our sport, technically delivering. But let's make that step change and make it more entertaining and bring the innovation in. Expanding out to the venue, the second part, let's really give our spectators an amazing experience when they're in the venue. And finally, on television, all those, globally, millions of people that will watch the sport, let's really make some bold steps, bold changes, be really open-minded with our portfolio, with the advice that Star can bring. And if we succeed on all those three fronts, then we really will achieve the ambition to become a global game that inspires the next generation.
Thank you guys for your contributions. Will you please join me in warmly thanking the panel?
The best laid plans in the world won't happen by themselves. So we need to talk about how we're going to make it happen. We want to be absolutely certain about the role we each have wherever we're from and whoever we're representing here today. You've heard a lot this morning about what we must do, and quite possibly some of you are wondering about who we mean. After all, we've got such a mix of associations and federations, both large and small, in the room. We know that some of you have probably been thinking, that doesn't really apply to me. Well, I've got news for you. It does. We need your active commitment, your engagement, and your participation from you and your teams back home to make this work. And a great place to start is with our new values and behaviours.
Thank you, Pam. Lots of organizations have values and behaviors. You can normally find them on a dusty shelf with the title Forgotten. Or my favorite, you print them on a mouse pad, you put them on a mug, they're everywhere, but nobody ever takes notice of them. For us to succeed, we have to be different. For us, our values are just as important as our 4 goals and our 5 initiatives that you've heard about this morning. And they will be applied equally to everyone. They may be used differently by different people, but they're the same for all of us. So let's take a look. When you look at these, you get a real sense of pace and energy. It's this combination that makes them so important. It's not a menu for you to pick one and not pick the other. It's the combination of them that will enable us to be the inspiring leaders that we wish to be. And the really good news, as we go through each of the values, you'll see that in some places, we have already successfully been working in this way. Let's look at the first value, progressive. This is about behaving in a way that is innovative, smart, and continuously improving.
The second value we want to talk about is optimistic. We can achieve so much more when we have a belief that anything's possible rather than a can't-do attitude. So this is about behaving in a way that's positive, can-do, and confident.
So we now take a look at the third value, dynamic. You've got to be quick, agile, flexible, so that we can respond fast to any situation. This is about being influential, energetic, challenging.
The final value we want to talk about is inclusive. We pride ourselves on our approach to race, gender, sexuality, disability, and age, and we want to keep it that way. It is about the hockey family. This is about being accessible, transparent, and celebrating diversity. If we can adopt these ways of working, we'll see a shift away from the organisation that is sometimes too internally focused to one that's more high profile, focused on growth, and that always puts the fans and the players at the centre.
We'll move away from being largely amateur towards an organisation that's professional and comfortable with being commercial and businesslike.
Our values and our behaviours will help us build on our tradition and family values to ensure that we're relevant to new generations where the notion of family is completely different from the past.
We'll move away from being quiet and polite, although we'll still be polite, to having an authoritative voice on vital committees.
We'll shift from being slow changing to dynamic and constantly improving.
We'll move from consensual and safe to fast-moving and pioneering.
But ultimately, we'll be a global sport that's less bound by its heritage and more excited by its ambitions for the future.
And remember, our ambition is about inspiring the world.
So while we're thinking big thoughts and being optimistic about the future, I'd like to leave you with a well-known Māori proverb, or whakatauki as we would say it, that really talks about the power of working together, of genuine collaboration. Nā te roro, nā tākaroro, ka ora ai te iwi. With your food basket and my food basket, the people will thrive.
Thank you.
Today we're going to spend 40 minutes talking about Project HG. This is the project name for short form hockey. We believe it has got a huge amount of potential and energy and will be a major part of our game as we look into our exciting and revolutionary future. Short form hockey has been on the hockey FIH and the FIH agenda for quite some time. It's clearly part of an overall trend around short-form sports. So it becomes a very significant development for us. We are taking it extremely seriously. Hence, we have a project. It's very important you think about that. We're not just writing down some rules and faxing them out in that weird curly fax paper that you may or may not have lying around. We're taking this time. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get a short-form version of hockey right. So we're taking a deliberate approach to design all aspects of it. It's the equipment, it's the facilities, it's the look, it's the image, it's the language around the sport. It is being created. It is being deliberately created. A little bit like 2020 cricket is a great example of something that did not exist. There was a strategic gap, a massive problem with the sport. They sat down and created something. Project HG. HG, the name stands for Hockey Global Growth. Younger fans, younger players, and that is in different markets and different countries where the cost and the affordability, the accessibility of big hockey is a problem. So our goal is to put this together in collaboration with all our friends here, and the generation that we're targeting is the Gen Z new millennials. So late 90s, born in the 2000s, what are they interested in? And I will challenge you actually. You may not like what I'm going to talk about, but that's just too bad. You don't have to like it. You have to think about what would a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 14-year-old, what would they like? We'll just do a little bit of myth busting. We don't need to have 11 players. 11 players is just a random accident. It was created because some dudes, some fancy dudes in bloomers and waistcoats decided to play cricket with 11 players. It's just a thing. So, 300 years later, perhaps it's time for a change. This is the universe, the sporting universe that we operate in. This generation of sport, style of leisure activity that is leading the way. So we either go with it, we join the market, we step out in front and make it even more, or we swim against the tide. I'd suggest that we probably want to be part of the marketplace and moving forward. But why short form hockey? We actually have a game that works brilliantly in its short form, don't we? It's great. Playing 4-a-side, 5-a-side, 6-a-side, forwards defense, it is great. We just haven't bundled it up, wrapped it all up, and put it under the Christmas tree. So it's time we did that. The thing that the Gen Z new millennials particularly want is creativity and self-expression. So if we create a sport, short form sport, and we give it to one of those who has that mentality, and we say, here's the 325 rules, learn them, and we're now about to do a small cones exercise focusing on as soon as you get the ball, you have to give it to someone else. That's not that fantastic for them. So I'm getting a whole lot of pressure from commercial partners that this is something that they're interested in. Clearly, hockey, global growth, development and low cost. Part of our mission, possibly the most important thing, is to spread the word and the love of hockey. So if 22 players is a problem, more than that, 4, 5, 6-a-side, smaller formats, smaller facilities, you can start to play and be involved in the formal version. Ladder your way up, improve your teams, create shock results, attend world events. That's pretty cool. So we need to showcase the best bits of our sport. That's the way, modern, fast-moving world, we need to showcase the best bits. The goals, the action, the thrills, and the spills. Condense it down. So we all watch sports on TV. For years, they have just shown highlights of sports because that's what people like watching. They've already for years, TV has just been taking a traditional sport and creating a short-form version of it. That's actually what they do, and we tune in. Innovations, an incubator, great opportunity as far as that goes. We can understand we can bring things into the shorter form because it just operates at that kind of petri dish level. No one's going to mind too much. Bit of hit and miss, hopefully quite a lot of hit. And new events. We want to get involved in new events. Urban Games is a great one. And as far as new events goes, we have two kind of aspects to it. The vibe of our sport, does it fit? Does the vibe of our sport fit a new event, an X Games type of universe? And does the cost base, how many athletes can we bring along? As far as the objectives go, we have a formal approach. I talked about it being designed. We have objectives with regards to our Project HG, rejuvenate and reposition hockey, win the hearts and minds of young fans, increase participation worldwide, and more hockey as entertainment events. This is at the heart of what we're really trying to do. Hockey as entertainment. Create more of those events. We have a spectacular sport. We have diving, we have amazing surfaces, we have the moments that our TV friends can capture and showcase. Clearly, the short form sport universe is around entertaining events. It's around making it a place that you actually want to go, whether you particularly like that sport or not. We are very focused on the equipment and the clothing that we wear is something that we will deliberately design. With technology, we can merge the experience between being a fan and understanding the player and the performance. A builder of hockey stars, this is currency. We currently do not have hockey stars. I don't care what you say, you'll have some people that are well known. This is a modern currency. Hockey stars in the entertainment media business drive interest. We need to play our game in spectacular locations. For a couple of reasons, we don't have cathedrals to our sport. We don't have Lords, the MCG, Eden Gardens, Soldier Field, Madison Square Gardens. But what's brilliant about short form sports is I will take the game to the people. Driver of professional hockey, it's clearly going to be that because it's going to be drive commercial interest, it's going to drive fan interest, it's going to be a key component of what is a real challenge for us. We are looking for one or two brands who will co-create short-form hockey with us. One of the things I found most fascinating of some of the research that came out of talking to young people, young players at the World Cup, is they want chaos. They love chaos in the game. We talked about Nanjing. It was absolutely terrific. We did hockey fives there because it was a youth-focused event, no kidding, and we needed to have a finite number of athletes. So, somewhat quickly, but rather brilliantly, we introduced a five-a-side game of hockey, and I think you'll all agree it was pretty cool.
The three words that best describe Hockey Fives for me is fast, fun, and forever changing. That's 2 words. The fact that you can score from anywhere, it's a defender's dream. Hockey Fives improves your skill and your fitness, and it also makes you more aware of what's going on in the game. Who doesn't want to be a world champion?
So at Nanjing, we did some workshops with players and coaches from 15 countries. It was a unique opportunity to talk to perhaps hockey playing players and countries that we wouldn't typically get to interact with, which was brilliant. 22 of those 31 players believe it is more skillful than 11-a-side hockey. No one said it was better, but they illustrated, they clearly said, as a majority, it was more skillful. Fast, you'll all, I'm sure, appreciate, but by golly, it is a fast and thrilling game. What was noticeable in Nanjing was how many comebacks there were. There was a couple of occasions with, going into the third quarter, teams were 5-6 goals down. And they ended up, a draw happened. Easier to play and watch. We can understand because we've taken away a lot of the experience. Because remember, although it's all there, as just a person watching, I understand that's a goal, that's a shot, that's a goal, that's a shot. Goodness me, this looks thrilling. So that's great. Active and dynamic, and you could score from anywhere as a rule feature was a major difference. As we shrink hockey, we bring hockey nations closer together. That's got to be a good thing. So you've got to have a plan, and we have a plan. We have a massive vision, a singular discipline of international standing. That is our vision for short-form hockey. Big idea for Project HG, a channel to voice, showcase, and share a love of hockey. And then we're going to launch it big. The development, we're looking at no alphabetical order, so don't panic. Brand, marketing, commercial, equipment, events, facilities, rules, stakeholders, and technology. A deliberate project, not an accidental project. That's what we're doing over the next year or so. The Big Bang, Stage 3, the global launch. Something so significant and thrilling and unique for hockey that it demonstrates the revolutionary potential of short-form hockey, that it creates a universe of short-form hockey. How can you help? As always, love it. Love and support the idea of fast, free-flowing, entertaining, simple, and skillful short-form hockey.
I'm sure you all agree. It's been a fascinating day with plenty of thoughts, messages for us to take home with us. So listening to your comments and questions today, I'd like to share a few observations, just very simply 3. There has been, very pleasingly, a coherence amongst all the messages that we've had today, and we're obviously going to put all those together. The need for change, the need to compete, the level of competition that there is out there, the need to move quickly, and the need to take advantage of this opportunity. And this has come from Nitin, it's come from Kevin, so I'm really pleased about that. Second message, focus, focus, focus. We're not able to do everything, but we do have to make some decisions. And clearly, there will have to be compromises. But, as we said, if we're successful, we will reap the benefits of that. Third, and this is a little bit more of a philosophical question for you. Who do we want to rub shoulders with as a sport? And I'm not going to mention any of those that I think we sit with, but we know, we've seen from Nitin, 22 years ago. 22 years ago, Doordarshan in India, Indian cricket were paying to get on television. That's not that long ago. Today, 1.5 billion. There's an opportunity out there that we have to embrace. Who do we want to rub shoulders with? Are we in the place that we belong? I don't think so. So please, think about the values, the behaviors, and how you can demonstrate them in your environment. Think about the 5 initiatives, which I think the team did a brilliant job in presenting today. And from the start of the day, let's end where we began. I described our purpose as raising the global status and popularity of hockey. And this is a challenge for every single one of us to take away with us. Our ambition, the ultimate, why are we doing this? Why do we need change? And why must we change so much? It's because we are seeking a global game that inspires the next generation. Thank you for your time, for your energy, your passion, for your patience, and please hoping that you leave here with inspiration that you can pass on to others. And remember, if thousands of people can take one single step, the revolution will happen. Thank you.
Revolution means to me change.
More excitement, more skill. We can use a revolution because we need to take the game to the next level.
The world is changing and we want to change with the world.
If we can do that, hockey as a sport will only flourish.
Now I think all the new changes are really exciting for not only us as players but also the spectators as well.
I love all the steps that hockey is taking at the moment and I'm really looking forward to the future.
We have to keep on changing and keep on innovating and make sure the revolution actually continues.
Hockey revolution is really needed in the sport and gives great opportunity for everybody.
The interest for all of us is to get the game larger and across more countries around the world. So anything we can do together to do that is a big plus.
Inspiring new generations, being a global sport, being a top women's team sport, that's exciting.
Everybody that is here is working every day with their conditions to take hockey to the best place we can.
Absolutely inspiring. We've been able to see things that we didn't expect, and we've been exposed to new ideas about hockey, and we realize that in Africa we've got a lot of job to do.
The online support is going to be crucial for the coming years because more and more youth is really inspired by social media.
Hockey Fives is a major initiative to get hockey more exposed, more fans, more people interested in it.
Success in Nanjing in the Youth Olympics just showed the potential to engage with all nations of the world.
Exciting for the kids, exciting for the spectators.
I think it's something that kids everywhere are going to really just jump on the bandwagon and want to play. I think it's one of the most exciting things that's come out for a long time.
It's big, it's bold, it's what the sport should be, it's what we want it to be.
I think hockey is going way forward, which is a very good thing in a positive way.
We are one big family and there's a lot to win globally if we all work together.
The strategies that we saw today, I think is inspiring. It's going to help us, it's going to push the sport, which is most important.